1, 2, is this on?
In wrestling, the start of an iconic run can often be pinpointed to one specific moment. A memorable moment that ultimately leads to many more down the line. For this video, we're going to highlight these occasions and touch on the historic runs that followed. But rather than debuts, returns, or the beginning of long title reigns, we're focusing on specific segments, angles, turns, promos, and matches. Today, we list WWE moments that led to a legendary run. When we look back at The Rock's early years, there's a few major moments that set him up for greatness.
But sucks isn't one of them.
For this entry, we want to focus on the time the People's Champion became the corporate champion at Survivor Series 1998. Not just because it was The Rock's first title win, but due to the fact that this heel run ultimately cemented him as one of the absolute best. Sure, there was way more still to come after he turned face. The point is that we can trace a lot of what we came to love about the Great One to his initial main event run. This was where he fully fleshed out most of his iconic catchphrases, where he established his unmistaken wardrobe and got over all his unique idiosyncrasies.
And the millions and millions of The Rock's fans. The Rock almost put that bony jabroni in a coma. 20,000 of The Rock's fans all chanting his name. Do you smell it? The Rock isn't just some Rudy Poo candy ass on the corner of Know Your Road Boulevard and Jabroni Drive. The most electrifying man in sports entertainment history. Shawn Michaels about 10 pounds of monkey crap in a 5-pound bag if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Know Your Road, Jabroni. Sit down. You're blocking the Rock's light. Come on, Triple H. You Rudy Poo. You smell.
Simply put, his time in the corporation as a heel was what allowed him to become such a great babyface down the line. Much of his act remained the same, but was enhanced because the story now called for fans to cheer him, something they were already doing anyway. Once he became a face, one of The Rock's main opponents was Triple H, someone who experienced a number of aha moments in his career whilst feuding with the People's Champ, including Triple H's famous promo where he became the Game. This happened on the pre-show to Fully Loaded 1999. Helmsley was due to take on The Rock in a strap match, but before this, Hunter had a lot to get off his chest in a sit-down interview with JR. Here, Triple H lamented the punishment he'd received as a result of the infamous curtain call, and how the chip on his shoulder he carried from this is why he is the man we see today. He never complained, he simply kept the frustration deep inside, until now where it was ready to be unleashed. Helmsley had long since been described as a student of the game, but now he was the game.
You guys talk about being students of the game. I am the game, JR.
And the next level could only be completed by winning the WWF title. The Game won the WWF Championship a month later, but it wasn't until his feud with Mick Foley that everyone got fully on board with Triple H as the company's top heel. Foley helped Helmsley become a made man in wrestling. Just like Foley got Triple H over in 2000, 5 years later it was time for Helmsley to do the same for Batista. The slow burn storyline of Batista turning face and leaving Evolution was tremendous television. This was the true making of Batista that was all ready to culminate after he won the 2005 Royal Rumble. After seeing how Randy Orton was treated by Evolution after winning the world title the previous year, there was only one way the February 21st, 2005 episode of Raw could end. Here, Batista was to choose what champion he'd be challenging at WrestleMania. Triple H had been attempting to manipulate the animal into thinking SmackDown's champion JBL was out to get him, but the real kicker was when Batista overheard the Game admitting he set Dave up with a limo incident. It was an iconic shot that had us completely hooked for the final segment. An even more iconic image followed as Batista gave us a callback to Orton being betrayed by Triple H. Everything about this angle was just perfect, from the commentary to the facial expressions to the crowd reaction. It was pure cinema. Batista went on to defeat Triple H for the title at WrestleMania 21, and then again at Backlash and Vengeance. Hunter could not have put Dave over any stronger. This set up the Animal's run as the face of SmackDown. During Batista's run on top, he and John Cena were A1 and A2 when it came to WWE's top stars. Over the course of Cena's career, he's had a few different star-making moments that set him up on a great run. These have been analysed and spoken about at great length, but for this entry, we want to focus on a Cena moment that's not talked about as much. A moment foreshadowed one of WWE's biggest rivalries in later years. Randy Orton was right there with Cena and Batista when it came to the biggest stars of the Ruthless Aggression era. Orton and Cena would go on to have loads of big main event matches, but one of their first meetings on screen came right before they each won world championships. At SummerSlam 2004, Orton and Cena appeared in a backstage interview together.
Do y'all like Randy Orton?
It was rare to see the two Raw and SmackDown wrestlers cross paths with each other in a segment like this. It usually didn't happen unless there was something planned for the future, and with these two that was absolutely the case. Sure, it would be a few years before they would do battle, but you absolutely knew Orton and Cena were being groomed as the two up-and-coming top stars. This was the first major meeting between two men that would feud and lead the company for the next decade. In 2009, Randy Orton was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder, which created a storyline where he had no responsibility for his actions. This meant he could wreak absolute havoc in the WWE. He was a menace that tormented the McMahon family and routinely punted people in the head. And it was a punt to the chairman Vince that quite literally kicked everything off when it came to this version of Orton. The punt kick had debuted a few years prior, but given Orton's mental state during this period, the punt was more dangerous than ever, since Randy was too. This incarnation of the Viper is considered his best work by many fans due to how unhinged and violent he was. Who could forget when Stone Cold Steve Austin won the 1996 King of the Ring and cut the promo of his career? This was when everyone took note of the man that would become the Texas Rattlesnake. From this moment on, he rode the wave that changed the industry. All the while on the other show, a similar shockwave was being jolted through the wrestling world. Sure, Stone Cold was an overnight success following the Austin 316 promo, but it was more so the Bret Hart match at WrestleMania 13 that catapulted his career into superstardom. However, Steve's King of the Ring coronation was certainly the first launching pad in his storied WWF career.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. I went to bat twice and I hit 2 grand slams. Out of an event I was never supposed to win.
The shockwave we mentioned over on WCW was that of the New World Order. There were a few moments that got this storyline off the ground, such as Scott Hall coming through the crowd.
You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Or Kevin Nash appearing behind Eric Bischoff.
This is where the big boys play, huh?
But we're focusing on Hulk Hogan's infamous heel turn at Bash at the Beach. Hogan was the logical choice as the third man, but that still doesn't mean him turning on WCW wasn't one of the most shocking and incredible moments in wrestling history.
Hook! What is he doing? My God! Is he the third man? He's the third man!
From what it meant at the time to what it led to after, the rest, as they say, is history, as Hollywood Hogan and the NWO took over wrestling. The Undertaker's match with Batista at WrestleMania 23, which was the first in a string of 7 consecutive all-time great matches in Taker's streak. The Phenom didn't just go 7-0 in terms of victories during this time period, since each match completely stole the show in terms of quality. These were the years where The Undertaker's streak became immortal, as he and his opponents consistently put in amazing performances on the grandest stage.
The ball, and he got him! And Undertaker rolled the shoulder up. Oh, spear! 1, 2, Undertaker kicked out! There it is! Music again! And again! Good God Almighty, the match continues! Watch it, sweet music! Michaels has done it! No! This is too much! Oh! Tyranny! What did we just see? What did we just see? So, oh! Continued pedigree! Silver! They done it! Oh, they haven't done it!
The streak match was arguably WrestleMania's biggest selling point during this period. The beginning of the legendary program between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian kicked off at WrestleMania 2000 in the Triangle Ladder match. But you can trace the origins of this legendary series of tables, ladders, and chairs matches back to No Mercy 1999. This was the official coming out party for Edge and Christian and the Hardys. This level of risk-taking action was unprecedented in the World Wrestling Federation, and it was how both teams proved they belong. Tag team wrestling was back like we'd never seen it before. The Dudleys joined the fray a few months later. They'd already set the standard at the time when it came to this version of tag team wrestling, but they were about to up the ante even more with the help of Matt, Jeff, Edge, and Christian. The iconic tables match with the Hardys at Royal Rumble 2000 was like nothing WWF fans had ever seen before. The subsequent Triangle Ladder match at WrestleMania 2000 put all 3 teams firmly on the map in WWF, to the point where everyone knew this program was going to be something very special. The official first TLC match at that year's SummerSlam completely stole the show. All 3 teams were successfully combining high-risk stunts with logical storytelling. They kept outdoing themselves with each match. The magnus opus piece of the TLC saga occurred at WrestleMania 17. This was a 5-star classic for the ages that mixed the drama-filled car wreck elements of the previous matches with run-ins. This was live performance art before our very eyes. There was one more TLC match involving all 3 teams that often gets overlooked since it occurred on TV and had no build. In saying that, it was still one of the greatest matches in SmackDown history.
Never seen this. Look at this.
It marked the final chapter in the magnificent story between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. After returning to the WWE in 2004, Edge didn't exactly set the world alight. He wouldn't begin to make waves again until turning heel, and then from there, aligning with his real-life partner Lita on screen, somebody who was romantically involved with Matt Hardy at the time. It was the behind-the-scenes drama that scored the rated R superstar big heat from this point on. He'd taken Matt's girlfriend and was now flaunting it and making out with her every week on TV.
My gosh.
Edge fully leaned into the real-life controversy, which only led him to massive success.
And if the only positive that can come from that is that I am the most despised guy in this industry, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to get to the top.
But Edge is passing in. Oh! He done it. Edge has shook the world.
In the end, it was this affair with Lita that really propelled Edge to main event status. After suffering multiple injuries on top of numerous stop-and-start pushes in his career, 2011 was the year Mark Henry finally put it all together. And it all started thanks to a rib played by Vince McMahon. Vince made Henry wait in the ring as Mark thought he was going to wrestle Sin Cara in the post-show dark match. However, no one came out.
While we were waiting for Mark Henry's opponent, we would like to thank you all for being a part of this evening's event.
As Vince and his goons exited the building before the world's strongest man returned backstage and destroyed various equipment in legit frustration. McMahon later told Henry that if he could parlay this anger into his on-screen character, it would be money.
He said, if you could do that in the ring, he was like, you make a lot of money.
A few weeks later, Mark would cut the promo that kicked off his Hall of Pain run that proved to be the best period of his career.
I'd like to welcome all of you to the Hall of Pain.
Here, Henry became an unstoppable monster and a highlight of SmackDown.
Not again.
So much so that he was granted a well-earned run as World Heavyweight Champion. When Roman Reigns returned at SummerSlam 2020 and subsequently turned heel by aligning with Paul Heyman, it laid the foundations for a tale that would take over WWE for the next few years. The tale of the Bloodline was the best story the company had told in quite some time, and the symbolism of Roman linking up with the evil Heyman was the perfect way to kick things off.
It's not just a prediction. That's a spoiler. I love you, Wise Man.
I love you too, my trouble too.
It's a family celebration. Wise Man, you are family. I love you.
It signified change and created a partnership that centered around unwavering loyalty, something the Bloodline story would be built on. When Sami Zayn first linked up with the Bloodline, fans may not have been prepared for the hilarious and entertaining run that was to follow.
Doing a little dance, he can't.
That's the dance you do.
That's, I'm in his head doing the dance, yeah, right?
We talked about earlier? Yeah. Big, I'll tell you all about it later. Okay?
Yeet. All right.
You know what I mean? There it is.
Scream right now. Every part of Sheamus's body has to be taking such a toll over the...
I go, my dog, I'm right here.
It added further layers to the already entertaining Bloodline story. Plus, Sami was primed for what would become a great run as a babyface. It was a run filled with numerous memorable moments, and it really helped take Zayn to the next level we knew he was capable of reaching. It was when Zayn used the word "oozy" that the fans really jumped on board.
He just hasn't been very oozy.
From then on, he became the honorary Uce, and the rest was history.
Brand new, undisputed tag team champions. Yes! Sami Zayn! The Sami Zayn era begins.
The WWE's Women's Revolution began in NXT, and Becky Lynch was one of the ladies at the forefront. Yes, it took her a few years to adjust and reap the benefits, but Becky's meteoric rise in 2018 doesn't happen without the groundwork she and others laid in NXT. So then we come to that one moment that truly made her a superstar. We go to the SmackDown episode from the 13th of November in 2018, where a bloody and battered Becky stands tall amongst the people after being punched in the face by Nia Jax. It's an iconic image that stands the test of time.
Becky's proud of herself. Becky may have a broken nose. Obviously, she doesn't care.
This was her Austin bleeding in the sharpshooter moment, and although she suffered a concussion and got taken off the upcoming Survivor Series, this was the best thing that could have happened to Lynch, because it set up her journey to WrestleMania.
Set over the top. Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair's been eliminated.
Becky was now the female answer to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, wait a minute.
She was the most over star in the company. There was absolutely no question the man not only had to win both titles at WrestleMania, but it had to be in the main event.
Shoulders down! Shoulders down! They did it! Becky Lynch takes it all tonight!
Becky Lynch standing tall with both belts at WrestleMania as the pyro goes off gave us flashbacks to Daniel Bryan achieving the same feat 5 years previous. Bryan's Mania journey all began at the Show of Shows 2 years prior in Miami. Fans were gobsmacked at Daniel's 18-second world title loss to Sheamus. The online uproar translated to unwavering support for Bryan in the arenas, and it all started the next night on a show Daniel barely even featured on besides a backstage interview. The fans chanted yes all night.
The WWE Championship up for grabs, the champion Punk.
And Bryan got to see it for himself in the post-show dark match. The reaction Daniel received here helped get him over for the next year. The yes chant became a phenomenon. By the summer of 2013, fans were ready to see him step into that top babyface role, and although it took some time with a rollercoaster-like story in between, the people finally got what they wanted at WrestleMania 30, all because their support never wavered.
You can't fight the biggest superstar in the WWE, and that's the WWE Universe.
On a night where Bryan was supposed to wrestle Sheamus, again this time in a nothing match in the middle of the card, the fans' reaction and hijacking of shows forced the WWE's hand to do what needed to be done.
We've already had 2 bad WrestleMania moments together. The last thing the WrestleMania crowd wants to see is me and Sheamus.
For the WWE, the right thing is often the hardest thing to do. It won't always make them the most money in the long run. It won't always be the most popular decision in the eyes of the higher-ups, but it's still the right thing for the fans.
You people have believed in me and supported me.
As we've seen already with WWE in the 2010s, upsetting the status quo and gaining the unwavering support of the fans was imperative. It was hard to get the company to look past their golden stars, so it often took one bombshell moment or one pipe bomb to shake things up. When CM Punk sat cross-legged on the ramp during the conclusion to the June 27, 2011 edition of Raw, fans didn't think much of it until Punk began to spit bullets and deliver some home truths the whole wrestling world needed to hear.
But the fact that Dwayne is in the main event of WrestleMania next year and I'm not makes me sick. There's one thing you're better at than I am, and that's kissing Vince McMahon's ass. I don't know if you're as good as Dwayne, though. He's a pretty good ass kisser.
The higher-ups thought this work shoot-style promo would paint Punk as the villain, but they were probably the only ones who held this viewpoint. This pipe bomb kicked off the summer of Punk, which piqued fan interest like nothing else had throughout the entirety of the PG era.
Maybe this company will be better after Vince McMahon's dead, but the fact is, it's gonna get taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law and the rest of his stupid family.
And although the creative that followed stumbled and staggered until Punk finally got his rightful run with the WWE title, the subsequent year-long reign and chain of events in between all began with the pipe bomb. This was significant as it changed the promo style and WWE product going forward. The watered-down G-rated experience fans had suffered through in 2009 and 2010 was thankfully over. Finally, there was some variety in the main event scene. Punk and our previous 2 entries on the list are living proof of this. In order to make the WWE change, the fans and the wrestlers had to force the company's hand.
In anybody else's hands, this is a microphone. In my hands, it's a pipe bomb, as I showed 2 weeks ago.
In 2024, after becoming a board member of WWE's parent company TKO, The Rock was back on television, ready to work a match at the upcoming WrestleMania. And while we initially thought it'd be against Roman Reigns, the fan outrage to Rock taking away Cody Rhodes' main event spot meant the People's Champ was primed to turn heel. But this wasn't just the return of Hollywood Rock, this was the final boss.
Professional wrestling is happening because of the final boss.
A foul-mouthed, ruthless, and bloodthirsty Brahma Bull that was on the board and ready to take WWE into a new era.
Fuck that! You shut your mouth! Look at this one! Cody Rhodes, from the bottom of my heart, fuck your story.
It took the most disliked YouTube video in WWE history for us to finally get another heel character of The Rock.
Because finally, You cactus-loving crackheads finally have something worth shooting in your veins.
That's when Dusty said with total frustration that drugs and cheap condoms was a bad combination.
We already knew The Rock was the absolute best, but this reinvention was just further proof why he will forever be the Great One.
You broke the all-time record for the largest gathering of trailer park trash The Rock has ever seen. The #1 city in America for cocaine and meth use is Phoenix, Arizona. You, and also your goofy ass dog Pharaoh. Don't call that dog Pharaoh. Call him shithead.
Professional wrestling was cool again thanks to the final boss. Now if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video on 10 times WWE fired talent for crazy reasons. Hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time.